What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new episode of VR 365. I am back. It is the month of November. It is 2021, and I am joined by ReckonerVR, also known, of course, as Gary from VR Roundtable, and also Immersed Robot. Gary, are you the Immersed Robot?
Apparently so, yeah. I seem to be. Yeah, because I started out when I started that channel, I started doing it as just text to speech kind of stuff. I was trying to work out this way of doing a channel where it was based like on this character of a robot. So I used a text to speech thing, but it got a little bit long-winded to make videos, and also I got comments pretty much every video saying we don't like this text-to-speech stuff. So I started using my own voice. So yeah. Apparently I am Immersed Robot. Yes.
You know, it's funny on the text to speech thing there is I saw this advertisement like on YouTube. You've probably seen these advertisements too, where it's for some text to speech software that you can get that has all these realistic human voices, women, men, all different kinds of nationalities and stuff. And I was thinking about that because you know what? The Next Dimension podcast, right? MRTV's podcast. You know, at one point it goes, "Welcome to Next Dimension podcast," you know, and it has an announcer guy, right? And I was like, damn, did Sebastian like go pay like a lot of money for some like special voice talent to do that? But I'm thinking maybe he's using one of those type of deals, right?
I don't know. I think it was actual voice talent on that one, but I don't know. I don't know for sure, because they are pretty close. There's some that you can actually pay a lot of money for and get some pretty good quality text-to-speech stuff. I originally just used a free one because I'm not paying money for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm kind of thinking about it, and I'm thinking like if you did get, I don't know how much they charge for that software. I don't know if it's like a one-time deal, if it's like subscription and stuff. Everybody wants a goddamn subscription, right? And that's what you want to avoid. But if it's like a one-time deal, I could see like if you were really into YouTube, you're really making YouTube videos, you could have these when you're doing transitions. A female voice comes on and says a little thing into the, you know what I mean? So like you could do a lot of nice little production stuff with that. So that could be kind of cool if somebody really got into it. But, But yeah, so we have Gary from Immersed Robot in the building. Really excited about this. And also briefly want to mention as well, of course, that Gary is the author of a fine bestseller, New York Times bestseller, The Memory Engine. Yeah. And so, Gary, where can people go? Like, so if somebody wanted to buy The Memory Engine, if they want to get like some kind of like paperback version, or they want to get the digital version, what's the best way for somebody to do that?
Amazon, really. Amazon's the best place. So if you've got a Kindle, then you can download it from Amazon. And Audible, if you want the audiobook version. I'd rather people buy the digital version or the paperback. But if you want the audio version as well, then you can do that. It's on Audible. But yeah, Amazon's probably the best place. Originally, I did publish it on all these other e-readers as well, but I've taken it off those now because basically I don't get any sales through those anyway, and you get extra benefits if you make it exclusive to Amazon, so that's why I've done that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if I think I get a couple of sales a month of it, so it's ticking over, it's fine. It's not of course it was on the Times bestseller list. I mean, I should probably point that out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, man, it's amazing for me to have you as a guest here. You're probably in high demand right now. But
absolutely, yeah.
But going back to Immersed Robot, your channel, because this is an interesting thing that you're doing here. I've seen a number of your recent videos, and you are I've seen you're mixing in footage and stuff. Like you're doing a little higher end job here, and so. Like, is this something that has slowly transformed since you started doing this, like your idea of what you're going to do with this show? Because I know I saw one of your videos where it was the one on the links, and you're basically like kind of introducing things, and it has more of that production value where you're trying to like have this presentation that comes off. I thought it's a pretty damn good job. So are you like really leaning into this thing hardcore, or are you just trying to be as creative as possible for the videos you do?
No, I think with that links one in particular, because they paid for our travel expenses, so I wanted to do a good quality video and show show the links for what it is. I was a little bit critical of certain aspects of it, and actually when Sebastian emailed Stan from Links to say, we'd love to come over and try it out. He did make it absolutely clear in that email. He CC'd me into that email to say basically, we're going to tell the truth when we come over. We're not going to sort of say that this is fantastic if it's not. And he laid that out really clear. And Stan agreed to that and was absolutely willing to show off their product. So I think the fact is, with that particular video, I tried a little bit extra production quality and stuff like that, just because I felt like it deserved it. It was a trip and we got a lot of information. I could have made an hour-long video on that trip, honestly. There was so much information that we had. So I tried to do that, but really with the channel, I'm only focusing on stuff that I'm personally interested in. I don't want to have a channel where I'm covering every little Quest title that's coming out or anything like that. I can't get into that kind of stuff. It will drive me insane to do that. So I'm just focusing on the stuff that I'm interested in and taking it easier. In fact, I'll probably slow down on videos, if anything, at the moment. So I'm just sort of trying to balance it out so I can maintain it but not push myself too hard with it, really, as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because like we're gonna switch over here to this more personal window here. This is what I call the talking heads window. But let me see, what was I gonna ask you about? Oh, in terms of like doing a YouTube channel and doing these like more high production value videos, then you get into an area where, like, if you look at like Tyrell Wood and people like that, where they have these like panning shots of the hardware that's sitting on the table and like all these, there's a lot that goes into it. I got to imagine when they make videos like that, it takes a tremendous amount of time. Was making that links video a lot longer than like most of your other videos in terms of like trying to like scale that all together?
It was definitely more than the average video that I do. Yeah, it was a lot more work than that. And like I say, I won't make a habit of doing videos like that unless there's something that warrants it. But yeah, it was a lot of work, and the editing stuff. Actually, in terms of editing, just making videos in general takes a lot of time anyway. So that one probably took less time than I was expecting, truthfully. So yeah, I think anybody that makes content on YouTube and is putting it out there, it's a lot of work. It's hours of work for even the smallest video. So I have a lot of respect for these YouTubers that have been doing it for many years. Honestly, it's not an easy thing to do. It seems like a cushy job. You can just do it and it's fine. There's no issues, but it's a lot of work. And I personally, I don't want to. This will never be something that I want to ever do full time. Even if I had the opportunity to do it, I don't think I would want to do YouTube videos full time. I don't enjoy the process of making a video enough to make it my job.
Okay, what about this though? What if, Gary, you were like fantastically wealthy, right? And you could have video editors and like cameramen and people where you're just the star of the show. Like, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, that would be a lot easier, of course. Yeah, if you could hire video editors and stuff like that, then that takes the work, because that's the worst bit, really. And I say it's the worst bit, and yet sometimes I actually quite enjoy some aspects of the video editing and having that satisfaction of having a video finished and you've edited it, and you look back on certain parts and you think that little cut there, that was really well done, and stuff like this. But yeah, it's definitely a hobby for me, and it always will be a hobby. And look, I'm not even promising anything. If I could very well stop in a couple of months, I could very well just walk away from it all. I don't think I will, because I've done it for about a year now, and just treating it as a couple of videos a week, 10-minute videos a week, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay, well, Speaking of the links itself and your visit there and this product and where this product fits into the market and AR and VR, it's this is an interesting time that we're at in this industry, but more specifically to the links. So do you believe, because back when this thing was first announced a long time ago, there was some people thought, oh, this is going to be like, this is another competitor that is entering the arena. Is this something that we should consider along with a Valve Index, a Rift S, and this headset and that, HP Reverb? Is this another competitor in that arena? Is this like a consumer-oriented product that is going to be competing with all these other consumer-oriented products? And time has gone by, prices and features might be a little bit different now. But what do you think about this headset? Is this headset going to try to compete with Valve Index, HP Reverb, Rift S, or is it like not competing with those things at all?
I think it's not really competing, at least from what I've used of it. It's not really competing on that level with a Valve Index or something like that. Not to say that it can't replace, because I didn't get to try the Steam VR wireless streaming or anything like that with it. And there's a few things we didn't get to try. So we didn't get to try these motion controllers as well that they are working on, because basically they are adapting Finch controllers with to add on a thumbstick and things like this to make them more like usual, like the Oculus Touch controllers, basically. So there's a few things which I didn't get to try with it. What I did get to try was very interesting with this headset. So there's people that might be looking at this is a headset which will be a Quest 2 replacement. And while I don't think that's impossible, I think it certainly can be a viable Quest 2 replacement based on what I've used so far. I think that it's really needs to play into its strengths in terms of this mixed reality stuff. Now, the further question beyond that is then where does the content come from? Because to get this mixed reality headset, which is not necessarily working on the same level as the Quest in that aspect, where you've got this full color pass through, hand tracking, very high quality hand tracking, very high quality pass through as well. To have certain developers make content for that aspect of this headset will be fantastic. I just don't know if that will be the case. I hope it is the case. So I don't see this headset competing with the Valve Index or native PC VR headsets necessarily. I think it can compete with Quest 2 on certain elements, and I've yet to try the wireless streaming. I've yet to try the controllers. So if I get it and I can try that and it's almost as good as the Quest 2, then that's great, because it's also got all this other functionality beyond the Quest 2.
I wonder how they're like in terms of like manufacturing, right? Like this little company, like why are they involved in hardware? Like why are they trying, like why is this little small company trying to make a VR headset and then to have it manufactured in the thousands of I don't know how many units? Like if this was specifically for enterprise and like they were specifically targeting enterprise customers, and maybe they kind of are, and maybe they have an angle there for that, and that's really kind of what they're about, and like the consumer angle of it is just kind of like being thrown in along with it, because it's like how many of these things are they going to manufacture and getting like some factory in China to like imagine they had to design that super complicated lens design with the little eye tracking that's right in the middle and everything, and then basically get that information to people in China where they're going to mass manufacture this thing, and I don't know how many units they're making. Did you get any kind of discussion about like when they're actually going to roll the thing out and like that whole process, or did they probably not get into that?
Well, yeah, we had a lot of discussions with them, and they said that basically the Kickstarter will be delivered to consumers in April, but yeah, this is sort of almost a side thing. They are looking for extra investment as well beyond the Kickstarter, so that they've got plans, and we were speaking to them behind the scenes. We didn't put any of this in the videos, but they are absolutely focused on the enterprise aspect of this as well. So, they've got that whole aspect as well as the consumer, the Kickstarter aspect as well. The consumer side has generated a lot of interest, as it would in a product like this. But also the thing to take away from this is a small company of 15 people that are making this product. But at the same time, what you need to understand is what they have in terms of relationships with Qualcomm and various other big players shouldn't be just dismissed and swept under the carpet. This is one of the biggest advantages they have. The relationship they have with Qualcomm is very good, and they are doing a lot of things in collaboration with them. This is why a small company like Lynx is able to do this and even attempt to take on something like the Quest 2. So yeah, there's not a lot of other companies that have this kind of relationship other than the very big players. So I think that's something to mention.
Yeah, mentioning the Qualcomm connection there is, I remember back when Qualcomm. Remember when I was talking about the Quest, the Quest Killer, and all this stuff, and like I was really into this Qualcomm thing, like 7 concurrent cameras and 2160 by 2160 or 20 whatever it was. The resolution was like 4K per eye or whatever they were saying at that time. And because Qualcomm had these trailers where they were showing like this lady steps out into her backyard, but she's like in a nightclub, and it's doing scene recognition and understanding and all these incredible things. And I was like, yeah, this is going to kill the Quest dead. But at that time, Qualcomm had been like interviewed. There had been some articles, and they mentioned, I can't remember if they said that we've already got like 4 partners or 5 partners or like 6 partners or like OEMs. Like they had, it was somewhere between 4 and 6. Like, I don't know which number it was, but like, let's just say it was like they had 4 OEMs that are already working with them, or 5 or something like that. And so I think we can figure out that these guys were one of those. These guys were one of that group. But I wonder where all the other ones are. I wonder if the next Quest could be considered one of those. If it's I don't think so though. I don't know. Do you have anything you can think of in terms of like what those other OEMs might be?
Not offhand, no. But I think because Qualcomm are constantly producing these reference designs as well and things like that, which is probably what that video that you were talking about originally with the woman coming out is like a reference design. And the Lynx, I think, because they had a Qualcomm reference design unit in the offices that we saw, and I think, but it was very, it's a really bulky kind of headset.
Yeah, but did you need to try that?
No, I didn't get to try it. No. They also had a Star VR, actually. I would have loved to have tried that as well. But no. But the thing is, what they were doing, and I believe what they've done with the Lynx is basically shrink that reference design down into the form factor that they've now got in certain ways, not entirely. There's different things between these 2 products, but there's. I think they've shrunk that reference design down to the Lynx form factor by utilizing these lenses, these odd lenses, because that's really what's made it possible to get it down to that small form factor at the end of the day. But yeah, the reference design thing that Qualcomm seem to do periodically, you always get like a new reference design that's coming out, and then you hear about perhaps people are using this. And it's a lot of it, I would imagine, is perhaps behind the scenes in some ways as well, where these bigger companies getting these reference designs, perhaps making prototypes based on them that might become products one day, perhaps might not. We don't know.
Yeah, and for all those watching right now, if you followed me on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, I tweeted a while back about Qualcomm. The stock had dropped considerably. It was like $128 or something like that. And I said, hey guys, this is a real low price. Guess where it is now? It's about $170 in a matter of a couple of months. Their stock had dropped dramatically, but now with this whole metaverse thing, see, the metaverse thing is crazy because it's putting so much attention all in so many different areas on anything that is even remotely VR related. And there's like a scramble. There's like this mad scramble from the investment community to find out, because the EV industry, electrical vehicles, like, Tesla and all that stuff is just unbelievably huge. People have made untold sums of money that is mostly speculative, but like so much money just rushes in because they think this is the next gold rush. And that's starting to happen with metaverse. And so like anything that's metaverse related, and people started to find out, oh my God, gee, Qualcomm, their Snapdragon just happens to be in basically every standalone product known to man. I mean, seriously, if you look at like every standalone product that's out there and you put them all on a table, there's only like a very small fraction that does not have a Snapdragon inside it. So, it's got to be a great metaverse play there.
Well, the big thing as well is that Apple's product won't have it. It will have their own, and that's the big thing as well. And they are going to become a big player on that side of things, but they're going to stay away from. I mean, it'll be interesting over the next couple of years. We keep saying this though, like, do you remember, like, over the past 3 years, basically, we've been waiting for Apple to announce anything, give us some kind of glimpse of anything. But over the next couple of years, it will be interesting to see how their strategy plays out with regards to all this. Anyway, how they position it now that Facebook have sort of laid their cards on the table with this metaverse play, how Apple will position themselves, because they're not going to. I doubt they will ever say metaverse. There will never be any hint of metaverse in their stuff. They'll call it something else, perhaps, unless Facebook can get them on board.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll have to come up with a new name for it. But but even though Facebook is named Meta, and like their little ticker symbol is eventually going to be MVRS or whatever, Metaverse, and so like they're really leaning into the whole Metaverse thing. But it's like when I've seen discussions of just the Metaverse in general, sometimes Facebook is mentioned almost as an afterthought, which I think is kind of crazy. Like people will be talking about Roblox, they'll be talking about Unity. That they'll talk about Epic Games, and because Tencent owns part of Epic or whatever, they'll talk about that, and they're talking about a lot of these other things, and it's like, wait a minute, aren't you forgetting that pretty much Facebook is like betting their entire company on this play? Which it's incredible, like the ramifications of that. And just because we're talking about this right now, let's just go lean right into it, Gary, because don't you imagine there had to have been somebody that's sitting around that table at Meta when they were deciding all this that was like, excuse me, Mark, can I say something? Don't you think we're like 10 years early with all this, Mark? Like, what are we doing? Like, because all their advertisements that they have, all the little fancy trailers that they've shown, everything that they're showing with these little Ray-Ban glasses, the guy's sitting at his work desk, he puts it on and then, the entire world turns into, but those glasses that they're showing on people's heads, those are not 5mm thick. If those were 5mm thick, they would look really extremely dorky. So, Gary, there's got to be somebody on Facebook, like somebody very high up in Facebook, on the board of directors. There's got to be somebody that's saying, wait a minute, the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah. So that Connect was not for basically people that are into VR and AR at the moment. I don't think that Connect was entirely a marketing Connect to show people what they have planned and to show people the value of AR. You talk to anybody, you mention AR glasses to anybody in the street, and they were talking about, most of them won't. So by Facebook, one of the biggest companies in the world, Meta, one of the biggest companies in the world, by having how long was it? Hour and a half, something like that. 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it was. And they basically set out the next 10 years to 15 years of what they want to do. And this was entirely to put across to the general mainstream public the value of AR glasses. That's all it was. And this might be further than 10 years. What we're seeing here at the moment, where you've got this thin pair of glasses that doesn't seem to have any capability for processing.
I know, yeah. Where's like the 9 cameras on that thing?
Yeah, and so all of this stuff. This is further away than 10 years, in my opinion, anyway. But they are laying out the viability and trying to get people interested in why they should care about a product like this. That's the entire point of that Connect. It wasn't trying to say we've got GTA San Andreas coming out, really. That was an afterthought. They thought we've got to put something in there for the people that are invested now and within the near term. And they did have some relative near term stuff, but majority of it was the far term. And it was just laying out the value of why people need to care about this product. That's all it was.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And, those of us that are in the VR bubble, we understand this. But what about the the great wide world out there that is reporting on all of this, and they literally think like these products are like around the freaking corner?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's an interesting strategy, and it's a good point to bring up because I don't know. Do they think it's around the corner? Perhaps they do. I mean, anybody looking at this, where they are looking at those two people that are playing chess, one of them being 3,000 miles away or whatever, and it's a hologram opposite. Nobody can really think that's around the corner way, and I think they are just laying out. This is the thing. It was all this spectacle. It was all spectacle just to show people because nobody seems to care about AR glasses. They're happy with their phones. So why does the mainstream general public care about AR glasses? This is why, because this is what it's capable of one day, perhaps. Who knows? It might not ever be capable of it. But if it is, this will be a fantastic product to have. So all this marketing was just showing people the potential of what it could do in the future. And your point there still stands, Anthony, I think, as well. It's a good point to bring up that anybody watching this from the mainstream general media, perhaps they do think it's closer than it actually is. How close do you think it is? They're talking 10 years. To me, this is way off. This is 15, 20 years at least for what they are showing here in some of these trailers.
Yeah, especially like the glasses that they're showing. These are not realistic whatsoever because, now when Zuckerberg was talking and he said 5 millimeters and he was talking about integrating all the microphones, the speakers, the cameras, the processing power. Like when he said 5 millimeters, I was like, oh, okay, this guy actually there's some realism going on here. So, understands that this really is going to be a thicker type of a thing. But then the problem is if all these trailers really did show 5 millimeter thick type frames that were really going to be required here, you can't walk into a Starbucks with that. I mean, you could, but everybody's going to be like, oh, look at those dorky, it's going to be like this, like we've got a problem here. I mean, I know they're going to be very compelling to wear these things. And then you got the battery life and all of that. I mean, there's just so many issues with all of this. I just feel like, but God, it's crazy though. It's so mind-boggling to me that they're so all in on this, and it's such a roll of the dice. This is not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination that this is going to go super wide, wide open.
No, who would have predicted this though? Like back in 2016 when we first got our VR headsets, the Oculus and the HTC. HTC had everybody in the palm of their hands at that point because at that time it was PC. PC was VR. That's what it was all about really. And then you had Facebook that had acquired Oculus and they were sort of investing quite a lot of money into VR. But HTC had. That was sort of one of the most popular. That was pretty much the most popular PC headset at that time in early 2016. It wasn't until the Oculus Touch controllers came out, and then all of these games that Facebook had been investing in over that time started to come out, and we got all of these great titles that you start to see a more of a balance. HTC, that Vive was the product at the beginning of 2016, but now we are looking, and you're right, Anthony, like this company, which is one of the biggest companies in the world, is making a significant bet. I wonder how big a bet it is in the grand scheme of things. I mean, they are renaming they're rebranding and all of this other stuff, but the cash cow, the money makers, Instagram, Facebook, they're still going to carry on as normal anyway. But to me, it still feels like a big bet because of that rebrand. This is telling the world, this is them making a statement that they believe this technology is going to replace mobile phones and tablets, possibly laptops, all of these other things that we can possibly think of over the next decade. And yeah, it's a crazy thing. I wouldn't have predicted this amount of what they in 2016. I wouldn't have predicted that Facebook would have gone this hard. I knew they were going pretty hard, but not this hard. This is next level stuff.
Yeah, do you think it's possible that behind the scenes at Facebook Reality Lab and the technology that they've been working on in the background, that maybe they've discovered things about VR and AR where they know where it's just reinforced everything they already thought in the first place, where it's like, oh my god, this is just going to destroy the world as we know it. Like, they're playing around with like retina quality screens and things, and like full FOV and like body tracking and stuff like that, and maybe they know that getting all that technology and like their incredible avatars. See, one of the things you mentioned too is you were talking about the guy playing chess, and yeah, it's not going to look like a hologram from Ghostbusters of a guy sitting right next to you. That's a ghost. That's a blue ghost. But at the same time, we've seen their advanced avatars. We've seen that one guy where he's talking and they're making their mouths move and stuff. And they recently showed a sample where it was a full body guy. During that presentation, there was a small portion of that presentation where they showed that guy his full body, and they showed a lady that was, I don't know if she was wearing a Quest or something, and she was like looking around, and as she was looking around she was seeing all the angles of him. So they're showing that that's capable, and I'm not absolutely convinced that Cambria is not going to somehow have the capabilities to give us our first glimpse of this next generation avatar? Or do you think that those avatars are still like several more product generations away?
Yeah, well, when you look at how those avatars are being rendered anyway, they're standing in the middle of this room, which is surrounded by cameras, capturing all this information. So, of course, if they're using that kind of technology, it's a long way off in terms of how do they do that for everyday people? You'd have to have a dedicated room, a dedicated space where you go to with all these cameras around you to capture your avatar.
Okay, the thing that I've heard about, because that's what I thought too, right? Is like, oh, that's great, but where are you going to go where you have a billion cameras? Although I will say this, last week with Gaming Science Teacher, right? I mentioned, hey, you know how Apple has the Apple Store? Maybe they could have these machines that are at certain Apple stores, and the damn machine costs $80,000. So only one Apple store within 100 miles of me happens to have this machine. But you'd go there, you get scanned and everything. And then just last week, there was a story that Facebook might have like little meta stores for Quest and stuff. Did you see that at all?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, and it probably won't be little stores as well. I think they'll be doing like Apple kind of stores. That same thing. That seems to be what they're doing with that. But to capture that avatar in real time, I can understand like if you're getting scanned and then it's your avatar's then in the cloud somewhere and you can use it anywhere. But what they were showing there seemed to be real time capture of a person being rendered then into the avatar.
Yeah, so one of the things that I kind of jumped ahead when I was talking about like, individual stores and having this machine, but one of the things that I did hear about in terms of those advanced avatars is that, this problem of like, yeah, but nobody's got a billion cameras, is everybody going to fly out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to sit in there and get captured by a billion cameras? It's just unlikely, right? But I was reading into that, and I believe they were saying that that's only to train their algorithms. That at the end of the day, your headset is going to have these facial muscle things and stuff like that, and basically this algorithm is going to be able to build that off of you without a billion cameras. It sounds far-fetched, though. I mean, I got to admit.
Yeah, well, that's really, I suppose that's what's needed to get that, because nobody's going to have those kind of dedicated rooms anyway. So yeah, that would be what's needed, and that would be great if that comes to fruition as well. I think what you were saying about the Cambria thing, And what we were talking about earlier about these glasses and what they're showing in these trailers, these glasses being a long way off. Some part of me wonders, like with this Cambria stuff, which is probably coming out next year, they have this. It's almost like a proof of concept for a wider market of people. At the moment, with the Quest 2, they have gamers primarily that will use that. But with the Cambria, with this full color pass through, these high resolution pass through as well, hand tracking being integrated, probably being used more as a productivity device, is more of a work device as well for enterprise. It's showing the value of this type of product to people that at the moment won't be wearing a Cambia out in the street, but they will be seeing the value of it at home and in their offices. And it's only then, as the technology progresses, that they'll start to see this more of a transition into a glasses form factor that you can wear all day and take out and about with you. So I think that the Cambria is a way. Nobody's going to be wearing a Cambria out on the street, but it's a way to show the value of this kind of product that you wear on your head and offers all of this functionality. And that will then lead on to perhaps people thinking about these other things that they've mentioned, the glasses that are further off. And it's a way of normalizing the technology. I think that's really what they're doing with all of this.
Yeah, well, a good part of it too is like just to start doing this AR and VR. Like I think one of the themes of like late 2022 is going to be AR and VR headsets. And you were talking about Apple a second ago there, and one of the things about this metaverse push, and it's like, oh my God, it's the metaverse. Facebook is going to own the metaverse. Should we allow Facebook to own the metaverse? Hey, Microsoft, what are you doing about the metaverse? Hey, Google, what are you doing about the metaverse? Well, everybody's asking all these other companies, hey, what about you? Are you doing anything about the metaverse? I'm sure there's people that are asking this about Apple, and Apple's probably saying, look, bro, we've been working on this for like 7 years with like 10,000 engineers. Like, yeah, we're working on this. Don't worry about it. But the fact that this does get blown out into the open in this sort of way, I do believe we finally are going to see something from Apple. Although I don't know if it's going to come out next year, though, because like, I don't know how Apple typically does this in terms of showing something off and then it being available like 8 months later. Like, how does that work?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, that is what they do. They'll show a product and then it will be released relatively that same year usually. I believe that the iPhone was like that, the original iPhone. The watch was like that as well, and the iPad. So that is exactly what they were. And I'm expecting that when they announce whatever headset they have planned first, if it comes out next year or the year after, I expect it to be a case of this is what it is, this is what it can do, and it will be available in 2 months. That's really what I expect. And that's why they're holding off. Apple are not really a company to tease years in advance. I don't think. My Apple knowledge isn't impeccable or anything, so maybe I'm wrong on that. But to the best of my knowledge, they're a company that will only announce something when it's only a few months away from consumers being able to purchase it.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting how all of this is going to unravel, because we're talking about a lot of companies that are going to come into this market and disrupt things. A lot of people are talking about Nvidia. I don't know if you've heard about like Nvidia's doing some stuff, like Nvidia's making some kind of multiverse thing where they're doing it for the businesses, where they're trying to make this like multiverse thing where like a business can like make all these different factories and stuff in a simulation basically to see if to see if it makes sense to have the factories located here and blah, 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 like doing all these kinds of things. So, I mean, there's so many different companies that are getting involved in this. It's going to be a crazy thing. But yeah, I mean,
there was
go ahead.
Just quickly as well on that, because on the metaverse thing, there was this thing. Basically, I mean, there are people that will say this metaverse thing that Facebook or Meta trying to stake their claim in at the moment is just going to be a natural transition to the internet becoming a more embodied experience anyway, as technology goes on. Um, uh, so what do you think about that? Like in terms of, because the metaverse really, in my mind, it's not VR chat, it's not Neos or any of these other social aspects. The metaverse to me is more of an internet which you are embodied in, and you can go in and travel through and experience in a different way than we experience it now. It's far more wider scope than something like VR chat or something like that, which people will point to. We've already got the metaverse. It's VR chat. Don't believe that. That's not that. I don't personally believe that.
Yeah, okay, but well, my question is like, if it's just like a 3D internet, like you could say, okay, well, this is basically the internet is now going 3D. Like right now in our reality, TV is two dimensional. Our phones are two dimensional. Our desktops are two dimensional. All the screens that we use primarily are two dimensional. And so when we interact with the internet, it's a two dimensional interaction. But now we can journey into the world of 3D. So now we can walk into these things and we can have things overlaid in all kinds of different ways. But now you have to have people build all of this. It's going to take a lot of time and effort to build all of it. I kind of think, like, I do agree with you, and from that standpoint. And then also, like, for me, the metaverse, though, like, for people to be like, oh man, I gotta get into the metaverse, I'm late to the game, I still haven't gotten into the metaverse. Like, I can imagine this conversation taking place in like maybe 7 or 8 years, and that fast, because of these advanced avatars. Because I truly believe, like, I believe the Facebook advanced avatars are like the glue that is going to hold it all together. Like, I think that's going to be the thing that shows people, okay, this is an entirely new realm here. Like, this makes sense now. Because when you are able to have these advanced avatars in shared spaces, I think that's the game changer, because then it's like, man, it's basically real life. It's like real, like you could go to an office party. I mean, I don't know that anybody would want to go to an office party, but, or some type of party or gathering where like half of the people are there virtually, half of the people are there real. I mean, I know it sounds crazy and I know it sounds like future sci-fi stuff, but once you get people looking damn near real, that's the difference. That's why I feel like all these little weeble, because I know there's people that they go into big screen, big screen beta, or they go into these different things, and like they're just completely blown away, even though it's unbelievably cartoonish and it's basic and there's not much going on. They're just blown away by the fact that there's multiple people in there, and I feel like I'm really in a place, and I got closer to this guy and his voice got louder and it was just me and him talking, and I went over to this little corner of the room and there was somebody sitting over there on the ground and they were playing their own little game, and I kind of just sat there and watched them, and oh my god, it was such a cool, amazing experience. But the thing is, I'll show that to another person and they'll be like, there's a bunch of cartoon people, man. I'm not going to bother with it. People, I'm telling you, like, there's real people out there. If they put this on and they saw advanced Facebook avatar things, and it's like, damn, there's real people. There are real people. Now, they're slightly watered down. They're slightly, video game-fied, but they look pretty goddamn real. Now this, I think it's like Zoom, the whole Zoom thing, like this completely replaces Zoom and those types of experiences.
Yeah.
And then for like family and stuff, I think it's revolutionary. I think, Portal has this little device that they were selling for like, your grandma or something, and she doesn't know how to operate anything, and you can do a video call with grandma. But imagine when you could just sit in grandma's living room with her, and you're just having your cup of coffee. She's having her cup of coffee. You're separated by thousands of miles. Now, the headsets, of course, are going to have to get to the point where the bulky factor is eliminated to some degree, because it really is. Just the other day, I was trying to play some VR, I mean, well, I wasn't playing a VR game, but I put on the VR headset and I was like, let me check out the Oculus store. Let me just look at what some things that are going on and stuff. And I set up I quickly set up a boundary, right? And then I sat down on my sofa and I like leaned back on my sofa, like this. And then the grid, the grid came up.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm leaning on my edge. Now I'm not seeing the grid. I lean back. Oh, now I'm seeing the grid. Like all of these little, and just the bulkiness of this thing on my head and stuff. Like that is a serious thing that we're going to have to deal with. These headsets eventually are going to have some sort of awareness of your space, of your life. Like, I don't know really what is stopping us right now, Gary, other than this would be, it would require a lot of effort on the user's part, and it's probably not wise, maybe lawsuits related and stuff like that. But I would imagine we have the technology right now with the Quest 2, where if Facebook wanted to put this into the Quest 2, I believe they can do it, where you could literally make like a 3-dimensional map of your house so that and you just slowly but surely do it. And you could, maybe it can use the internal cameras of the Quest 2 and it starts making like a mesh, and it'll ask you, is this a chair? Is this and you'll define it, and there's this program called Custom Room Mapper that they have that's on SideQuest. One of the most incredible programs I've ever seen to this day. I mean, I don't know if there's something a lot better. And this guy, maybe if I went into it now, maybe it's been dramatically improved and updated, but I could take this room here and you would measure out the walls and you measure out tables and stuff, because the thing is, if that headset was self-aware, it would know, oh, you're just sitting back on your goddamn couch, so I'm going to deactivate any kind of bull crap. So you're not going to, because it's these kind of interruptions. Look, I'm a VR guy that is used to all the VR jank. But if I give my headset to a soccer mom and I'm trying to give her the experience, and the thing is coming in and this is coming in and that's coming in and it's having problems tracking things because the light isn't bright enough, there's so many little issues we need to work on.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that there is almost zero chance that they are not working on that as one of their top priorities. When I tried Magic Leap 1, that will map your room, and if you have a room that goes into another room, it will map all of this as one continuous space. In my house, when I had Magic Leap 1, it will map the room and tell you to walk around, and it picked up my living room, my dining room, my kitchen was all mapped out within this. And you could then wander around it, and playing Dr. Broadbort's experience, which then maps these AR characters and objects into your real space, it has to be aware of this at all times. So this is 2018 technology. There's zero chance that Meta and all of these other people that are making this are not working on this. Is probably a big priority, honestly, in order to make the experience like you were talking about a lot better. The other thing that you were talking about there, Anthony, was these real avatars, these real looking avatars. And I think you're describing a use case which is going to appeal to a hell of a lot of people. I think there will be a lot of people that want that. And that will be a really easy kind of use case for mainstream public to get on board with and understand. I can talk to a family member as if they are in the same room as me, even though they are located thousands of miles away from me. So I think that is going to be a use case that is also going to be a priority. At the same time, going alongside that, I don't think that that's sort of separate from this other side. In VR chat, people make all of these weird avatars and all of these. They seem to focus on anime for some reason, but it's all sort of these weird avatars and stuff in VR chat. And people really thrive in that kind of environment as well. They want to be embodied in that kind of different kind of avatar from real life as well. These are two completely separate use cases in my mind, and both will play a big part. I think I don't see one going away. I don't see the cartoony side going away at all. But I do think that when they get to the point where that you can be a hologram in somebody else's room, that'll be a magical experience and show the value to a wider, much wider audience than it otherwise would.
Yeah, no, I don't believe, like, I'm not saying, when I say that we just can't have all this cartoony crap. What I mean is there's a certain type of person that doesn't care about that at all, and that does nothing for them. And like if they see a bunch of anime people running around, like that's not going to do anything for them at all. But yeah, no, I mean obviously you got to have both, you know, because a lot of people are saying, hey, I don't want my real life self to be in VR. You know, I want to be something different in VR. VR is supposed to be this like magical world. It's a magical place, and I don't want to be like who I actually am in real life.
It's why they got rid of the Facebook login, or they will do. They plan to get rid of that Facebook login, because I think that's the main reason. We all know that Meta are going to still collect data in the same way as they always have, even though they're removing the fact that you need this social media Facebook tied login to use your Quest 2. That's the part which I understand they need to get rid of, because I don't want that tied to my personal social, you know, my friends and family and stuff like that. That's none of their business what, you know, if I'm using my Quest 2 at this moment or not. You know, I don't want it tied to that. And all this kind of stuff. So I think that the simple fact is that by having that removed is a good thing, even though at the end of the day, they're still the same company collecting all the data. As people have pointed out, it doesn't really matter, but it's just you don't want it tied to your social platforms, which has to use your real name and your real identity and all of these other things. It's different.
Well, just imagine we have this little VR Roundtable account, right? That we bought all these different games in and stuff, and we got games like from developers gave us games or whatever, and it's like, hey, what do we do with this now? Because it's like, hey, we want to use it on a Quest or whatever, and I actually connected it to my individual Facebook account, even though, you know, so it's a weird thing. It's like, you know, you've got organizations and stuff, and they don't want to have it connected to like a one individual person's Facebook and all that. That was pretty crazy, and no question.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That was when we had to change that over. Because I mean, I wasn't even bothered anyway about all the VR Roundtable stuff, but it was like that process that we had to go through to just use the stuff that was on that account anyway. Yeah, it's a nightmare. And it was all just stuff that we'd had, like remnants from the VR Roundtable days, wasn't it? Really, that's all it was that was on there.
Yeah, but we had so many Quest games that was because of like cross-buy or whatever. It's like we literally had this account that has like 30 freaking Quest games on it, and it's like, what, are we just gonna throw it away? Like that? There's a lot of nice games on there to be able to jump in and play, but. Yeah, and then we have, well, there's the sharing accounts thing now where you can have a multiple accounts, but it's complicated. That's the whole thing about this modern gaming world. It's like the rights and everything is like, oh, it's on my account. No, you got to sign into your account. Oh no, he's using the primary Xbox, and you know, there's so much of that just gets so complicated. But why don't we talk about, we've got a limited amount of time here. The thing is, Gary's got some other stuff he's got to get to, so we don't have a lot of time. So I did want to get to some other things really quick. And one thing I wanted to mention really quick, Gary, is I was looking at some of the like recent trailers and stuff that have come out. And let me see if I can get into the right spot here. I was looking at some different trailers that have come out recently, and one thing that I saw is Lucky's freaking tail. So Lucky's tail is on the Oculus Quest. This is like available right now. I didn't hear, like I haven't been paying attention to news. Is this something that has been known for a long time, or what happened?
No, it was a surprise. It was a big surprise. And I think, so we've got Paradise Decay in chat, and I think Gamertag was in chat earlier as well. I don't know if he's still here, but I think they've both played this. They posted some stuff, and actually I've picked it up now because I like this game. And I don't know, did we get it free when we, like on my account, even when I logged in with a Quest, I thought we got Lucky's Tale free on the not on the Quest, sorry, on the Oculus Rift. When you bought an Oculus Rift, you get Lucky's Tale free.
Was that right? But here's the thing, you had to go into your, here's the thing though, if you didn't go into your individual account and actually like download it then it might not have ever got registered. Yeah, so is this cross-buy?
Maybe I
Like if
missed.
somebody owned it already, would it be cross-buy? Because I should
I
have this
don't
on one of my
know.
accounts.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Paradise Decay can let us know about that as well. But I picked it up because I like the game. I think it's a good game for what it is. You know, it's not an outstanding platform or anything like that, but it's also got a little bit of that nostalgia factor as well. Because I remember playing it when I first got my Oculus Rift, and I thought it was pretty impressive actually for what it is. And it's almost a no-brainer. There's a lot of no-brainers that have yet to come to Quest, and this is one of them. And
God, do you
Brass
know what this
Tactics.
sucks for though? This sucks for Monologic Games that came out with Vin VR Adventure because they were
Oh
like the
yeah,
only platformer on Quest. And I don't know if you've ever tried it. Have you ever tried Vin VR Adventure? It's actually damn
yeah,
good.
yeah. It is good. It is a good game. Yeah, I've played. I got the demo or the beta or something like that I tried for a while. So I got the first level, and it's good. It is a good game. Yeah.
You know, at the very end of this trailer, it says playful. It would be under my video screen, so my video screen blocks it. But at the very end, it says playful in the corner, and that company, Playful, that made Lucky's Tale, they went on to make. They were making that one game for PlayStation VR. Do you remember? It was like a Metroid type game almost.
I don't know that one.
Oh
No,
my
no.
god! It was what was it? It was like it was one of the most wanted PlayStation VR games for like years, but it just didn't come out. There was a demo. There was a demo on one of the PlayStation VR demo discs, and it was like this girl that's running along. It was like a 2D platform. It was made by Playful. Ah, I can't think of the name now. Somebody in chat.
I don't know. Yeah, someone. We
Um,
need someone in chat to save us. But Paradise Decay does say it is cross-buy as well if you've got it on Rift.
oh, it is
If you
cross-buy. Yeah,
sale.
so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should have it on one of my accounts. I know damn well that I downloaded it on both of them.
But the other thing I was saying, like the Brass Tactics, don't you think Brass Tactics should be one that comes to Quest? Surely they can get that running on Quest.
Oh man, yeah. So does this work on regular Quest as well as Quest 2? I think it's on both, right?
Yeah, I've not heard it. It's only on Quest 2. I believe it's on both. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's cool that like these games are coming, and it's weird. Like Oculus, I've always complained that their marketing is just so weird to me. Like where there's like this is something they could have maybe announced and had a little teaser for it or something, and people be like, "Oh, dude, Lucky's Tale is coming to the Quest, maybe," and then you see a trailer, and then you get,
But
and then the game comes out.
it's always good though, isn't it? Just to get a little surprise release like this. I think it's good. I do like that now and again. I understand what you're saying. Like it's good to get people excited as well for at least a little bit of time before. But I think this now and again is fine, and it's not like a huge game as well. It was never like one of these things that people mentioned other than on the launch shift really. But it's a good game. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's a really really good platformer, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you finish it, Anthony? Did you get all the way through?
Oh man, I got really far into it. I don't
Yeah, I
know if
didn't finish it.
I can't remember. So another game I'm showing right here. So this is Medal of Honor, which is coming to the Quest. Is it already out or is it coming in like a week or
It's
two?
out. It's out.
Oh, it's already
Yeah,
out.
no comment.
Dude, there's so much that's going on that I have no idea what's going on. But this is one that we heard about this a long time ago that it was like a rumor, and we heard that Respawn Entertainment was going to try to see if they could get this running on the Quest. They were going to explore it. This was like a year or so ago or whatever. We heard they were going to see if they could do it, but they weren't going to make any promises about it. And I remember at the time I thought maybe this will be the first Quest 2 exclusive. This is going to require a little bit extra power, so it's going to take the power of the Quest 2. And looking at this trailer here and looking at the graphics and stuff, I mean, obviously it's going to have to be watered down pretty considerably because we're talking about one of the more beautiful VR games that we've seen in certain ways, and then trying to like get this onto the Quest 2 is not exactly a trivial thing. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, so I've not tried it. I played it on PC when it first came out, but it didn't really hold my attention for very long. I probably played about 3 hours of it, something like that, but I just couldn't get into it. Um, So it's not going to be one that I'll be picking up on the Quest 2 anyway. But I've heard sort of conflicting things about it as well. Some people seem to really like it. But then some of the complaints is that it's got quite poor performance, which isn't entirely unexpected, really. But I mentioned this in my videos. I think, if it gets onto the store, it should really be running at an acceptable frame rate. And I've not tried it, so I've got no first-hand impressions of it. I'm just sort of speaking about some of the impressions that I've heard about with it dropping frames and stuff like that. But one of the things, because have you heard about this application Space Warp from the Quest? So I was sort of half expecting this to be the first title to use it, because it would make sense being a really demanding title like this, but it doesn't seem like it is. And I wonder if they're able to patch that in or something, so it's running in a form of reprojection all the time. But it's fine. A lot of PSVR games ran in reprojection constantly, and nobody seemed to bother about those most of the time. So I don't see the harm in the Quest to utilising this application Spacewalk for a game like this. And it's a surprise to me that that's not been implemented, unless it's just, they wanted to get the game out before they had time to implement it. So it'll be interesting if that gets patched in at some point.
Yeah, what I'm curious about when it comes to Medal of Honor and like Respawn and all of that is like, was this all baked into their original deal? Or was this something like, what I mean is like when they first went to Respawn and said, hey, we want you guys to make a VR game, would you want to work together on a VR game and like, think about what kind of franchise you would want to bring into VR, what you'd want to do, and then they decided, okay, we're going to do Medal of Honor, that's going to be, whoops, I'm sorry, I switched up. That's going to be what we're going to decide to do is Medal of Honor. And it's going to be this incredible PC VR, we're going to really push boundaries and stuff. But did they also say, hey, by the way, we have this thing called Santa Cruz. It's going to be a big thing for us in a couple of years. Can you guys start cracking away on a version? Like, was this all wrapped up into one contract, or did they make Medal of Honor, and then as Medal of Honor was like finishing, they're like, hey, we got this Quest thing, and we're kind of Quest now, man. Can we work something out here?
Who knows? Who knows how that could have gone down? Because that was a long time, wasn't it? It was a long time coming, the Medal of Honor thing. I mean, can't remember when they first announced it now. It was a good 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I can't even remember. But I think it was probably just the case that they made it for PC entirely. It was probably never in their contracts. And then they thought, if we approach Respawn to do this Quest version, they're going to get a good share of sales, because the Quest has sold so many more units than the platform that they made the game for. And it was an interesting thing when Medal of Honor came out on PC, actually, because it was supposed to be originally an Oculus Store exclusive, but it did get released on Steam as well. And this was sort of playing into the thought at the time that because Facebook are just moving away from PC, they don't care. They just want to get the extra revenue from this game. So why not put it on Steam and get that extra revenue? But with regards to the Quest 2 port, in my mind, I would imagine that they just started to toy around with it once the PC version had been finished, to see how much they could lower certain fidelity and get it running in some capacity. I'm actually curious to try it. I would like to try it just to see how performance is, due to really just how like people seem to be having these conflicting opinions on it.
Don't you wish there were like really I wish there were more short demos that, because like people will say, oh, just buy it and return it. I don't do that. I just don't do the buy and return thing. I if there was some kind of like extra fee I can play where it's like, you pay this fee every month and you get to sample the first 30 minutes of a game or something like that. I'd rather do that. Because I agree with you. I want to get into, Like, I want to see the game engine running in my headset, even if it's just like a little 2-minute demo, like a little 2-minute demo of Resident Evil, a little 2-minute demo of Medal of Honor, a little 2-minute demo of Lucky's Tale or whatever. I wish, like, they had a bunch of demos when the Quest first came out, and then there's been like no demos since. But another thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick, Gary, because I know we're running out of time here, is what about like high-end PC VR games, like new, exciting. So here's after the fall, right? Is this game already out? I don't even know. I don't
know with this one. No, no, it's not. It's not out yet.
Okay.
I don't think. No. The reason I don't know is simply because it's not my kind of game. I've not really I've followed it a little bit, but it's not really my kind of game.
Is it because of the 4-player thing?
Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah.
Me neither, man. It's like, I remember, dude, when Halo 3 came out, right? When Halo 3 came out and it was this 4-player thing and you could play 4-player Halo like right from the beginning. I had friends that were like, yeah, are we going to play Halo 3 together? And I'm like, yeah, once I play it by myself first, because I don't want you guys to spoil it. Because it's like, I feel like anytime you do like a 4-player thing like this, haven't you noticed like you end up running through the whole entire game, and it's like, dude, I would have been using this game for like 3 months, and we finished it in one day because we're like this team of 4 people, and we're like gunning down the bosses and stuff, and we're moving through. I mean, I know it's a fun, cool experience, but anytime I play like a 4-player thing like that, I feel like you always like move through it too quickly. I don't get to explore things at my own pace. I don't get to go over there and look at this bridge just because I want to look at this bridge because everybody wants to go fight the boss or whatever.
It's different. Yeah, you're on other people's. The reason is as well, part of it, because I feel the same way as you. And it's not like I don't like multiplayer games, because I got like years and years ago, this is of course before I had kids, but Halo 3 was one of the last games that I got really quite deep into in terms of multiplayer. I was never very good at it, but I got together with friends pretty much every night and we'd play Halo 3, and it was a great experience. But the other thing is you're on a schedule as part of it as well. It's like, okay, we'll meet tonight at 8 o'clock and this kind of stuff. And I don't always feel like I want to do that. I feel like playing more on impulse. Like, I've got an hour free. Let's do it now. And sometimes it can work out. And just recently, just a very quick tangent. On the Quest 2, there's a couple of golf games. There's Golf 5 E-Club, and Top Golf has now renamed itself. It's Golf Plus now, and it's got full golf courses and stuff like that. So this is actually one of the games that I'm playing multiplayer with 2 friends that have picked up Quests, 2 of my real life friends. And I'm having a great experience. I love playing golf. Anyway, I love golf games. I've never really played in real life. I've driven a few balls and stuff like that, but I've not played in real life. But I really like playing golf games on the Quest 2, and both of these are great multiplayer experiences. And those are the kind of multiplayer games I like now. And perhaps I'm showing my age. I just like the more relaxed, where we can have a bit of a chat while we have a round of golf. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's very chill. I know exactly so which golf game is it? Because it's an older release that got like updated or something, or I'm not showing it on here.
Yeah, so the original, if you search for, it's called Golf Plus now.
Okay.
On the
was
Quest
it like
store.
Top Golf with Pro Plus?
That's right.
Or something like that? Oh, they changed
That's
it.
Right.
Because most people they like Walkabout Mini Golf. Right.
Yeah, that's good. So that's like almost like it's mini golf, but it's also a little bit like crazy golf as well in places. Walkabout. It's great. It's a fantastic game as well. The other one I do want to mention is Golf 5 E-Club, that doesn't get a lot of coverage, but that's more of a simulation kind of golf game than Golf Plus. And I've only played a little bit of Golf Plus, the full golf courses, and it feels a little bit more. It's more arcadey. It's like, and maybe I need to try it on the harder difficulty levels or something like that. It's almost like you can't do a bad swing in Golf Plus, but I'm sure that will change if I change the difficulty. So I've only played a couple of hours of it so far. But yeah, it's just talking about multiplayer. These are the kinds of multiplayer games that I really enjoy at the moment.
Yeah, just going back to the PC, like high-end PC VR again for a quick second, is like, so, because after the fall, was kind of like the big game for this Christmas, sort of.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of considered like, I mean, I don't know what else would be the biggest game. Of course, Lone Echo 2, this one recently came out as well. And I think Gary had to do something real quick.
No, I've just gone off. I'm over here. Where am I?
Maybe this thing, I didn't rescale this. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to do it live on air. Live on air, folks. It's called Transform, Edit Transform, and it's called Scale to Inner Bounds. Okay, I was like, what did Gary do? He had to go to the bathroom real quick. Nope, he's here. He just got scaled right off the screen. All right, so I think that worked. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying that like these high-end PC VR games, what do we have? And I know that you're into kind of like seeing like what's capable in VR and like higher end, higher fidelity things. Like you kind of like seeing where we're pushing the envelope graphically and stuff like that. So like Lone Echo 2, what about this? Have you been playing this one, or did you get it, or what do you think?
No, this is a weird thing for me. I don't know. I am going to get it and I am going to play through it, but I haven't yet. And the reason is because when the review started to drop, they basically said it's more of the same. And I'd only recently played through Lone Echo again for the second time, or I hadn't actually finished it. Yeah, exactly. But I'd got many hours through it. I hadn't actually finished it the second time, but I got many hours through it. And I just felt, I don't know if I just want that same experience.
Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I did feel a little bit like that. And I'm having a break. I'm not playing any Lone Echoes. And I know for a fact that one day I will be picking this up and playing through it. Did you pick this one up?
No.
Because you liked the original, didn't you, as well?
Oh, yeah. I love the original. Well, there were certain times during the original, like I will go back and say this straight up. Like, if I were to rate like a 3-minute section of a game and just say what is the most incredible 3-minute section of any game I've ever played, it might have been this, because the first one, because when I was playing it, there was a certain time, and I can't tell you exactly what happened during that 3-minute period or whatever, but I know that I had these different periods where I'm like, I'm in a effing movie, man. Like, I'm in a freaking sci-fi. Like, I'm legitimately in. This is about as close as you can humanly get to be inside a sci-fi movie. Like, this is the dream that I had when I was a little kid. I've been a video game nut since the beginning of time. I've been an audio visual nut. I've been into like Blu-ray and DVD and laser. Like, I've always been into like the most incredible immersive audio visual thing. Like, I've had projectors. I had an HD TV in 1999. No lie, I had an HD TV in 1999. I got super lucky. I got this thing that was like $6,000, but I got it for $1,000. I saw the very first Super Bowl in high definition. It was the Tennessee Titans against the St. Louis Rams. So I've always been into like this audio visual thing, and one of my dreams has always been like, I can't think of a better dream to be inside a movie, to like be in the effing movie. Like, that's the ultimate dream, right? And for very brief minutes of time, I literally felt like I was in a movie with Lone Echo 1. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, it's almost like I get what you're saying with that. When you describe it in that way, I definitely understand that. And Lone Echo 1, I've always said, like, it's one of my favorite VR games for that type that it's trying to do, this narrative sort of linear experience. It's definitely one of my favorite VR games of that type. And it's confusing to me that I just didn't feel the impulse to pick up Lone Echo 2 when it launched. I thought they were probably, because it was a long time coming, I thought they'd probably add in, I know it's got a little bit of combat, but the stuff I've heard about the combat is not great either. But I thought maybe some more action-focused sections and stuff like this, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think part of it all stems from the fact that I recently played Lone Echo 1 again, and that was probably a mistake because I didn't need to do that. I just thought I should.
Do you think?
Yeah. So one day.
Do you think either of these games could possibly come to the Quest 2? I mean, it seems like everything else is.
Well, why? Here's the thing with that application Space Warp. Why can't a lot of things that we thought couldn't? And the thing is, as well, there's a lot they can do by turning down graphics and lighting and all of these other things. You know, anybody that's messed around with settings and reprojection and this kind of stuff in VR, they know that you can get a lot of gains by doing that stuff. And if they implement this in a certain way with application Space Warp, I don't think it's impossible. But then again, the engine could have limitations based on that as well that they used. I don't know the in depth about that, but it doesn't seem impossible to me. But yeah, it would be fantastic because I'm sure they are doing everything they can to get it on Quest simply for the sales numbers that it will inevitably get.
Yeah. So we're down to the final wire here, and one little thing I did want to mention really quick because I actually tried some of this just the other day. So the other day I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to do this podcast with Gary. I haven't done anything in VR for a while. Let me actually turn on a VR product and see what is going on in the VR world. And so I turned on my Quest 2 and like I just went to the Quest store and I'm just kind of looking around at stuff and I saw something that it just said VR animations and it had like all these little things, right? And one of them was like this Cadillac. It was like some kind of like Cadillac or something. It was just driving down a freeway, right? And
yeah, I saw that.
Okay,
one.
so I clicked on it. I couldn't find a trailer for it, but I did find a trailer for this Alex Sci-Fi World. There's different versions of Alex Sci-Fi World that you can get in here. But basically, all these little VR animations, they're built in Quill. I think the vast majority of them are. And you can download them in a freaking, like you download them in a couple of seconds. Bam, it downloads. And then bam, you're instantly, like that red Alex Sci-Fi World. I was in that one. There's these speeding cars going by. There's these, ships flying over. And then you have like this little tablet that is like connected to your hand where you can change like camera angles so you can get all these different camera angles. Dude, I thought this was super cool. And, speaking of the metaverse, and like if we think about art, this is the future of art. In my opinion, the future of art, especially like Alex's Sci-Fi World, like the very first Alex Sci-Fi World, the one that was in Quill that we went into on PC, and you're like walking around and there's like this car here and there's people drinking, and there's hot coffee and it's raining and then there's people over here are doing other things and it's like this little living, breathing world that you can kind of walk around and move in a little bit. And I feel like the future of art, well, one aspect of art could be making like a really highly detailed, very animated and just like elaborate kind of a world like this, but then allowing us to like walk around and kind of explore it. Now, the only thing that I kind of was screwing around with this, and I don't know if you can actually get up and physically walk around these spaces quite as much, but I don't have... The problem is in my new place where I'm at here, I have a very small, like little area. Gary, I'm in your situation, man. I got your exact same situation. There's no man cave here, bro. So I'm in a much smaller situation. So I can't just walk around Alex's Sci-Fi World. But I really thought all these little VR animated things, super cool, man. This is super cool. What did you think?
Yeah, so you mentioned these to me, and I think I'd been in there because I already had the application downloaded, so I think I must have been in there at some point in the past anyway. But yeah, so the ones that I tried, they were sort of very short looping things that you can change the camera angle of and then walk around them. And I agree, this is a great way to experience art on this level. And there's certain things as well, like with Tilt Brush no longer being that it's gone open source basically, and the platform, I can't remember what the platform was called now. It was a Google platform, but they closed down the way that you could get access to all of these Tilt Brush works of art that people had made, and you could experience them in that way. So they're working ways around that to get this kind of, all of these artists are sort of collaborating and working together in order to get a new platform up and running where you can create a work of art in tilt brush or the open brush, and then upload it to this platform, and then people can experience it in this way. The only thing about this, and I like this a lot. I really like some of the stuff that they've done and some of the stuff that I've experienced in here. And I've only tried 3 recently, but they're impressive for what they are offering. The only thing I think is it's just at this point, it's just a very inaccessible form of art. Even to show people in some ways, it's just, you need a headset, or you need people to come around and then be willing to put on a headset to experience this level of art.
You need a gymnasium.
Yeah, to walk around it and stuff. Yeah, but I'm with you. Like, in the long term, this is definitely a viable way to just create art and experience art in a different way. And there's some there's some interesting stuff in there. There was one that I tried that was just I think it was what was it called, working from home or something.
Yeah, I saw that
And
one.
it was just, yeah, that was just a cool little one, because they're able to play with scale as well. So you have
Exactly.
these set scenes, and you can make the scene really small and look down on it. But then if you make yourself really small, you're then placed on this table with this little toy robot that's wandering around, and now it's life size. And then they've got this extra scene in there as well, where you can actually go into the bathroom at the back of the office where this guy is working, and it's not even fully rendered. It's like a line
Yeah,
drawing
yeah,
of
I
this
know.
bathroom. But all of these things, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential here, and I guess we're only sort of scraping the surface of what is possible in this stuff at the moment. But what's there is, you see all the talent that's out there with this stuff and showing this, and it's a shame at the moment that it's not getting a wider audience. But hopefully in the future, when everybody's wearing AR glasses,
Yeah.
this will be prime
Well,
time.
imagine like when this really, because think of the artists that are actually working on this that actually even know this is possible. Like, there's such a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, right? So imagine when everybody knows, and it's like, oh yeah, VR animations, it's a big thing, and you just download millions of them, and there's all kinds of them, and they get voted up, and the really cool ones get voted. Like, there's so many interesting things you can do here, because it's like, just relaxing and chilling in VR. We remember when we
Yeah.
first got, the Oculus. What was the Oculus one where you had, like, you were by a creek with like a little fox and stuff? They had all those little snippets,
Oh yeah.
Dream
Yeah, it
World or
was like
whatever,
the
Dreamscape, or what was it
yeah,
called?
Dream
Dream
Deck.
Deck. Yeah,
Was it Dream? No, Dream Deck, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. It was like a few little
Snippets.
vignettes of, yeah, just stuff to experience. Yeah, I remember that one. But like I was talking about the multiplayer stuff, the stuff that I'm really drawn to at the moment in multiplayer is just nice, relaxing stuff where I can have a conversation with people while I play around the golf or something like that. And this kind of stuff can play into that, where if you can be in these works of art with another person, and perhaps there are interactive elements, if you want to include that, then you can include that as well. That would be great. But otherwise, you can just sort of have a wander around all of these spaces. There's so much potential with this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be awesome as it gets deeper. And one of the things I've gotten into recently is just, and I don't know how you feel about this, but like, I remember I interviewed Bobby Blackwolf, and I remember he would tell me, man, a lot of people, they work hard. When they come home from their job, they don't want to be standing up and moving around and doing all this crap. And I used to
Mhm.
think, nah, dude, if you want immersion, boots on the ground, man, a sword in one hand, a shield in the other, you got to be standing up. You got to be in the VR game, man. But I remember, him telling me, no, sometimes you just want to chill out and relax. And I've started to get into that now, where that's why I was doing all these little VR animation things, because it's like, sometimes it's like, yeah, I could just chill out. I could sit back on a chair, just relax and chill, but see like some really cool VR worlds and stuff. And I also did this one, it was like some kind of like, Oculus TV or whatever. They had some kind of video one where there's like a lady talk. It's supposed to be like a sci-fi thing, and this like, this like weird futuristic science fiction, like Assassin's Creed Animus type thing, and this lady's like talking to you and stuff. And it's just cool things like that. I remember I tried that. They had these one videos that were almost borderline pornographic, almost like Showtime TV at like 2 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday, where it was like these hot tubs, and it was like choose your own adventure, and it was real life video. I don't know if you remember this, Gary. God, I forget the name that it was called, but it was like a choose your own adventure, like an old Sega CD game, like full motion video, and you were talking
No, I
to these
didn't see that
girls,
one.
and like if it went bad, they slapped you, and if it went good, you ended up in the hot tub. And it was, but it was cool. It's like, yeah, we need interactive stuff like this. I think it's really, I mean, that was kind of cheesy and, a little bit.
No, I missed that one. I'll have to look for
Oh
it.
yeah, it's really fun. Especially if you remember the old Sega CD full motion video days.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so nostalgic for that. But yeah, so here we are.
Greg's VR put Night Trap. Yeah.
Yeah, Night Trap VR. That must happen. Night Trap VR. I would fund that. Let's kickstart that. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the show at this point in time. But before we bounce out of here, we got to, of course, remind everybody that Gary does have this new YouTube channel. It is called Immersed Robot, and there's lots of videos on there now. I highly suggest bouncing over there, subscribing to the channel, and checking out a number of his videos. Make sure to check out the links video. Gary is working so hard on this. He's going to improve by leaps and bounds. No, I'm just kidding, Gary. I'm trying to raise the expectations for your future videos. Everybody, he's going after this so bad. Everybody, you just don't know. He's going to make it incredible.
If anything, I'm going more casual.
Exactly. Yeah. But Immersed Robot is there. Be sure to check that out. Check out some of his videos there. Definitely cool. Definitely worth sampling, especially like Skyrim, all the mods and stuff like that. I wish we had more time because I would like to ask you about like going into deep dives to games like Skyrim and Fallout and stuff like trying to revisit the old killer apps that we thought they were going to be back.
Yeah. I still go into those all the time. I still love Skyrim. Skyrim's probably the one I go into the most. But yeah, Fallout 4 is still great. And I actually play quite a lot of those on Airlink with the Quest 2. I picked up a dedicated router just in my house just to stream PC VR to the Quest 2. And it's a fantastic experience. And that's really how I'm playing Skyrim lately, believe it or not. And I never expected that. I never expected to use Airlink over my index ever.
I watched your Skyrim video real briefly, and you were mentioning that you did have mods, but you didn't have like this like gigantic list of mods. Like you only had a small number of them. But have you ever thought like, I'm gonna just mod the shit out of them? You know what I mean? Have you ever thought like, I'm just gonna go all in on these like high res textures and all that stuff?
I've done all the ones like to improve fidelity and stuff like that, but I've never really thought that I want to. The problem is I'm the kind of person that could really just go down a rabbit hole with that stuff and never actually play the game. So I have to put like a limit on what I'm going to, the amount of time I'm going to put into that kind of stuff, because I'm easily that kind of person that would just keep modding and modding and modding, never play the game. And I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to enjoy the game.
What about like the hand control?
So, yeah.
Like, the big complaint I've always had with like Fallout 3 and Skyrim, and I'm super worried about San Andreas as well, is the fact that these games aren't built for VR. There's a table, you want to open the drawer, you want to pick up the stapler. But in Skyrim, because I haven't paid attention to Skyrim in years, and I know there's been like a lot of intense modding that has gone on, but has anybody like modded that to make that more like realistic or anything?
Yeah,
Really?
So you can get this thing. I think it's if I'm remembering correctly, it's called the Higgs Mod, hand interaction, something or other. But not only can you then pick up objects and throw them as you would in something like a built for VR game, but they've implemented this Half-Life Alyx thing as well, where you can highlight objects, press the trigger or grip, and then flick it towards you. So it's like got the gravity glove kind of implementation as well in there. And also they're all physics objects as well. They sort of made them physics objects, so you can get a sword or something and then swipe off a load of stuff off a table now as well.
Wow. Damn, that's crazy.
Things like that. So yeah, they've made it a lot better if you add certain mods. I've actually disabled that one at the moment, and because I was just getting some crashes, and I don't know if it was that or one of the other mods I tried.
Yeah, see,
But
that
in
is
that
the
video that you,
problem, right? You go down a rabbit
yeah,
hole.
well, it's probably just something I'm doing wrong on that, honestly, because people don't seem to have a problem with that mod at all. But it might be that, or it might be something else I've installed alongside that's conflicting with it. This is the other issue with mods. This is why I try not to dive into it too deeply, because you can really spend so much time just getting the game set up to run in the first
Yeah,
place.
what I've always wanted is a nut job that lives about 2 blocks down the street. He's done all the mods. I can go over there and be like, oh, yeah, this is actually good enough now. Can I bring my computer over here and you can mod it for me? Get it all perfect.
Yeah,
But yeah, but then you need the right graphics card and all that too. And that, yeah,
yeah, that's
VR
true.
is a hell of a hobby, right? But another thing we
Yeah.
wanted to mention really quick, of course, once again, the memory engine. If you would like to check that out, head over to Amazon and you could download it there. Where else could people get this again? Mostly Amazon. Oh,
Audible,
Audible.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you go to Amazon, that's the best place. But if you Audible as well, then you can get the audiobook version if you want to. Also, actually, I'm doing a thing. So if you actually don't bother joining my Patreon, because what I'm doing, I'm going to do this thing. If people join my
It
Patreon,
puts
I'm
more
also going to give
pressure
them
on you. Yeah.
a free, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I was going to do this thing, this promotion where people can get a free digital download of my book, and anybody that joins the Patreon will get that. But I'm thinking of doing perhaps, closing down the Patreon if I decide not to do some videos for a few weeks or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
don't bother with that. But that's the only other way.
Absolutely, yeah. Alrighty, well, thanks so much, Gary. I truly appreciate you for coming on here on a Saturday, kind of short notice and everything. And but it was fun, and I want to do this again because I would like to talk to you more about like Skyrim and Fallout and stuff like that. So maybe we can do it in another month or two or something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me know.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much going to go ahead and do it for this episode of VR 365. Not sure exactly when I'll be back, but probably more interview shows like this one. So if you're interested in potentially being interviewed out there, if you're a developer or you're in the VR gaming industry in a certain way, don't hesitate to contact me. Go ahead. You're probably best off just sending me a DM on Twitter or trying to get me on Twitter. That's probably the best way to do it. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here. That will do it for today's show. Thanks again to Gary. Be sure to go to Immersed Robot, subscribe, and check out the memory engine. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Take it easy, and
Thanks.
later.
Bye.